All right, next let's take a look at Apple reportedly planning some major product design changes to help boost growth. The company is expected to introduce a thinner iPhone next year that's going to be cheaper than the current Pro models with a simplified camera system. That's being done in order to keep the cost down a little bit. The company is also planning 2 foldable devices. One will be a laptop, the other will be an iPhone. So a lot to unpack here. This would be a major design and format change here coming for Apple. I think the question is what exactly the appetite and need and want is going to be of that foldable side of the equation. It's something that's been rumored for quite some time now. Our Yahoo Finance tech reporter Jan Halley has been reporting on this over the last several quarters. But I think it's evident that Apple might be under a bit of pressure, to say the least, just in terms of their innovation, the pipeline, and what needs to happen. Lots of talk about whether or not the inclusion of AI and what we were seeing in the iPhone 16, whether or not that's going to be enough to really boost demand here for devices. Obviously, this current quarter here, the holiday quarter, will give us a much better idea of that. But a thinner phone, that to me makes sense, especially with the cheaper price tag.
Just so I can crack my screen quicker? Great. Love it.
I don't know.
Foldable devices also notably have not been sold on them in the past. However, there is growing appetite for that. And Apple necessarily has looked at the market historically here. Tim Cook, especially in his operational mindset, has always assessed the landscape, seen what the market is actually demanding and consumers are really navigating themselves and gravitating towards, and then decided, okay, how do we leverage our ecosystem, our existing install base of a family of products, and then come out with a product that has a superior experience or just further entrenches themselves to say, okay, well, if I want to stay within the ecosystem and make sure that all my devices are interconnected, then obviously I need to just opt into this new device, whatever that is, whether it be thinner or sleeker or faster or foldier. All of those things considered, I think Apple, that's how they've maintained a lot of their fanfare for years, is the stickiness of the ecosystem and the existing install base. But what might be interesting now is I think consumers are coming around to the nerdiness of what they need to know about their devices, whether it's chips that are being talked about. Well, we spent much of last week talking about this new quantum computing chip. We did a reader on it and everything. Kathleen wrote it up, and we sat there and we're like, well, Google, Alphabet might be onto something here. Yeah. And that made it into our social media feeds. Right. Now you have everyday people talking about what this chip is gonna do, and we have no idea what quantum computing is, but it's got the mind share of everybody who's out there thinking about, okay, so what does this mean for all of the devices now? Are my devices gonna be smarter? Am I gonna be able to be smarter because my device is smart? All of these things cascade down and then eventually make it into the purchase decisions as well here. On top of, is the camera going to be good? Yeah,
and I think the question is how quickly that is going to factor into the purchase decisions, right? Just in terms of how much of it has to be a show me story in order for people to fork over more money, or in order to fork over money just in general, in order to get that. I think they need to see what that payback is and what the boost is going to be, because I think that's also being really felt with Apple's new iPhone lineup and kind of the lackluster demand that was initially reported on there heading into the holidays.
Smarter phones, longer battery life, and make me smarter too.
And a good camera.
And a good camera.